Everyone. Well, we saved the best for last. We are all very passionate about marketing, so we're excited to talk to you about this morning. We are going to start by getting some of your questions. Usually we've saved the questions for the end, but we want to hear from you what some of your issues are, because I'm sure you're already starting to think about marketing with your projects. And then you're going to hear from Hendy and Jordan, and maybe not Katka, I don't know if she's here this morning, but about tools when it comes to marketing and what marketing is, giving you an overview. And then I'm going to dive into the planning process. Sometimes marketing planning can be complicated, and I want to share with you a very simple process that you can use. And then we're actually going to work with you. We are all going to walk around and help your mentors, and we're going to make sure that by the end of the session, before we get on those buses, you have a really clear idea of a marketing plan. Sound good? Okay, so I want to know, what questions do you have about marketing? Do you all know what it is? Do you have questions about branding? What are some questions that have come up as you've been working on your project so far? Mentors, do you know any questions of your groups? Nothing, really, you guys? No questions? Yes. There's a microphone right behind you.
How do you market something that is quite, it's a sensitive issue in the community?
Give me an example, specific example.
For example, I want to work more with the migrant communities in Sabah, and some of them are undocumented. And if you ask Sabahans, it's the number one issue that everybody
Doesn't want to talk about it.
Don't want to talk about it, hate them, and all that.
Okay, so we're not going to answer your questions right now, but we're going to listen. So that's a great question. How do you communicate? How do you market an issue in a community that's a difficult subject to discuss? Even issues like human trafficking, prostitution, those are challenging topics. They're not something that you talk to your friends and family over the dinner table about. So that's a great question. So we will address that. What other questions do you have about communicating, marketing, branding? Because we want to hear from you first, and then we'll try to answer your questions in our presentation. None? Okay, we're jumping in then. Thank you for your question. All right, I'm going to hand it over to Jordan.
All right, how do I move this clicker? Just go to the other side. Okay, so my name is Jordan. If you don't know, Jordan Howard. I'm from Los Angeles, California, in the States. Yeah. All right, so what is marketing? Marketing is the way, marketing, branding, we usually say branding nowadays instead of marketing. And a lot of times now people say that they are their brand. So like, you are your brand. My brand would be Jordan Howard, because I am my brand. But what is marketing? Marketing is the way that you share your story. It's the way that you tell what your project is, your initiative is to the world or to other people. It's how you are selling your product to others, whether you are looking for partnerships, looking for people to care about your cause, looking for people to give you money, looking for people to support you. It is how you share your story. This is me, this is what I stand for, this is my vision. And it's how you're really conveying that vision to other people. So what you really, like other elements that we've talked about with the budgeting process, it's really important to make sure that you have a strategic marketing plan, and that everything is that you really map out and go back to the vision and are able to say, okay, well, what is my vision and how do I want to relay it? Because sometimes you want to raise awareness and sometimes you want to educate. So you have to really think about, what is it that I want who's my audience first, and what is it that I want them to do? Do I want them to give me money? Do I want them to become educated on this issue and know why this issue is important? Do I want to raise awareness? Because the way that you create that marketing plan and the different steps that you take and the tools that you use will be different. You understand? So what is it? What does it do and how does it work? What does it do? It could get you a whole bunch of money if you have a really good marketing plan. It could get you new team members that might not have known about your cause before, and now after you've given them, you have a good marketing plan, whether that means a logo, whether that could mean a Facebook page, a tweet, a selfie that ended up going viral. It could bring more people to your cause. So what we're going to do, we're going to give you different examples. I'm going to teach you about some different tools as well. there's a lot of new tools now. We are in it's a very good time to be young leaders, to be in this generation, because marketing is completely different than it was 5 years ago. It's so different now. I could market, we could start a campaign right now in like the next minute. If we wanted to like create a strategic marketing plan, we can say, okay, what's the vision? What do we want to do? Let's put on our laptops, let's put on our smartphones, and let's go and market. And Whitney's generation wasn't able to do that, but we are. So it's exciting.
You're right.
But you weren't though, right? You weren't, and now we are. So it's good to be a young person now, because we can, and we don't need a lot of tools that cost money to do it. You can start a marketing plan right now. So what are some of those tools? So the old school marketing was printing, it's advertising, it was magazines, maybe the marketing was on TV, so TV ads. And now everything is it's definitely very digital. It could be social media, so creating a Twitter, creating a Facebook page, creating an event, creating graphics and memes that really kind of get people excited and doing what we're doing, because we're always connected on our different devices. It could be an Instagram page, it could be a podcast. Does anybody listen to podcasts? So a podcast is basically, think of it as a radio show, but you can access it online. So you don't necessarily need a radio, you can access it online where people are just talking about different topics, whether that is the news, whether that is them talking about different things that are going on in pop culture. Sometimes people are just talking. Infographics, anyone like infographics? Infographics have been it was a very cool way of talking about different statistics and talking about different issues. And it's been this is an infographic right here. So has anyone ever seen something like this? Where there's a bunch of stats, but what they do, they basically put it on a picture, and we're able to look at pretty crazy data, but they make it to where it's pretty. And we can take it in more. So user activity. So how many people are on Facebook? There's 901 million users on Facebook. I want to say it's about 1 in every 15 person in the whole entire world has a Facebook account. That's a lot of people. Facebook is larger. There are so many users on Facebook that there's more. In Facebook, if it was a country, it would be larger than the population of Facebook would be larger than most countries. Twitter, there's 555 million people on Twitter. LinkedIn, they talked about LinkedIn a little yesterday, about 150 million people on LinkedIn. Pinterest, do you use Pinterest? You don't use Pinterest. Pinterest is for like older people. I said older. Just older. What are some of the different social media sites that you use? Shout them out. Instagram, I heard Instagram. Yeah, what else? Use Twitter. You're not really on Twitter. You're on Facebook most of the time, right? Facebook, yeah. It's our generation is kind of Facebook and Instagram. So Instagram is the one. The stats aren't on here for Instagram because Instagram is so new as well. Instagram probably became popular maybe about 2-3 years ago, where it like really took its peak. But Instagram is cool because it is just pictures. So different from Facebook, where you have to listen to read people's different ideas on whether it is political issues or what they ate for breakfast. Instagram is cool because you can just look at pictures, and you can like or you can scroll. You can like or you can scroll and just look at pictures. You don't have to hear people talk. And then it also separates it by different demographics, so that's also important when you're creating your marketing tools, looking at who is our audience. If our audience is young people and I want to get more young people involved, I'm not going to go and make a LinkedIn because the people that I'm trying to reach aren't on LinkedIn. So you have to look at, who's my audience, and let's go and find where they are. That's what marketing is really about. Who's my audience? What are they interested in? Let me go and find them instead of them finding you. So Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, just like I said, Instagram is really good for pictures, taking really good pictures. I'm going to show you one of my favorite Instagram accounts. It's like this social good account by this organization called Charity Water. And they were able to use Instagram really well and kind of grasp like what they do. And it's something where you could go on their Instagram account, which is Charity Water, and you can just see the work that they do. And it's not talking, it's pretty powerful. I'll show you the pictures and you'll be able to get like an example. But they were able to like really increase the funding that they receive, the different partnerships that they receive, because they created this Instagram account and took really gorgeous pictures, and you were able to say, wow, like that's an amazing organization just by looking at the pictures. YouTube is good because you can create a short film. Nowadays, like again, we have the tools where we can create films right now. We can create them, upload them, and that's our marketing campaign. So if maybe you can't convey what you want in a 140 character tweet, so you want something short, you want people to see your face and hear your voice, then maybe you want to create a short film and upload it on YouTube and get that shared out. Maybe you want to create something that a lot of people are on. Facebook is the largest social networking site, so Facebook is always a really good option because everyone is on Facebook, whether you want to talk about young people or you want people's moms or grandmas or aunties. Is anyone's grandma on Facebook? My grandma's on Facebook. Any grandmas on Facebook? Yeah, there's grandmas on Facebook. But Facebook is good because you can get everyone at one time and get everyone to be a part of your cause at one time. So this is a tool called Storyfy. Storyfy is really good for people that either tweet or don't tweet. But it's good to get people that don't tweet involved in the Twitter conversation. So what I basically did is went to storyfy.com and then looked at all the tweets that looked at our hashtag that we've been using over the last 3 days. And what you're able to do with Storyfy is create your own story from the tweets. So you can pick and choose what tweets you want to show. And then you can take that link and post it on Facebook. You can send it in an email. So maybe you want to show someone like, hey, we just had something that a lot of people do on Twitter is have Twitter chats. So a way that you can use a way you can use hashtags is to follow a conversation or create your own conversation. For instance, I have a brand with my friends that's called Gen Why Not, and it's for like young millennials, and we talk about politics. And that hashtag Gen Why Not is how we follow our conversation. So anyone in the world can be a part of this conversation with that hashtag. So you're able to say, if you have a potential funder and you say, hey, I want you to know about what my organization does, or I want you to know about this initiative that I'm a part of, look at the Twitter chat that we had, look at all the young people that we had talking about this last night or last week, and you send them that link, and you can pick and choose a different tweet. So there's pictures, there's different words. It's a pretty cool tool. So these are some of the different type of marketing campaigns that either were able to like fire people up when it comes to social good, or that I thought fired people up. This was the organization that I was telling you about earlier, Charity Water. So that is it's a screenshot of their Twitter. So you see the different pictures that they use. They're an organization that brings clean, safe drinking water all over Africa. And these are the pictures. It's not, usually you like never have words on any of their pictures. They're just taking pictures, and it's different because they kind of changed the narrative on what we thought when we thought of clean, safe drinking water. It's not something that's sad. It's not something that's emotional. Well, it is emotional, but it's not a sad emotion. If you look at the kids and you're just like, wow, like they're doing great work. Or what are they doing? And it gets you curious about their organization because they're just taking beautiful pictures and they upload it, and maybe you are moved to donate, maybe you're moved to partner with them to see what they can do on your campus, or maybe not. They have over 200,000 followers on Instagram, and they've been pretty big on Instagram. Coney 2012. Have you ever heard of that campaign? So that happened, of course, in 2012, but that was one of the big social good campaigns that really activated young people. It activated our generation in particular. And what they did was smart. What was smart about Coney 2012, where they want to talk about whether they were able to convey their vision and actually win and get Joseph Coney. They did a really good job of activating young people and getting young people excited about something. And what they did, they started it off with a film. And it was this documentary that was on YouTube. We are told of we're the generation that likes things very, very quick, very, very fast. But for some reason, they had millions and millions of young people from all over the world tuning into this 20-minute documentary. I remember I was getting messages from my friends like, have you seen the Coney video? I'm like, no, it's 20 minutes. I can't take 20 minutes to watch a video. But I ended up watching it because I was being reminded. And what they did, it was simple. So they had this simple graphic. And they said, we want to make sure that graphic gets everywhere. Even President Obama heard about it, said that he heard about the Coney 2012 campaign from his daughter, Sasha and Malia. Because they came to him and said, hey, Dad, like, have you heard about Coney 2012? So that was something that really captivated millennials, and it did it because they used film. They used documentaries. They used the emotions in the film, and then gave everyone something to do afterwards. So that's important, too, when you talk about your campaign. But for some reason, they had millions and millions of young people from all over the world tuning into this 20-minute documentary. I remember I was getting messages from my friends like, have you seen the Coney video? I'm like, no, it's 20 minutes. I can't take 20 minutes to watch a video. But I ended up watching it because I was being reminded. And what they did, it was simple. So they had this simple graphic. And they said, we want to make sure that graphic gets everywhere. Even President Obama heard about it, said that he heard about the Coney 2012 campaign from his daughter, Sasha and Malia. Because they came to him and said, hey, Dad, like, have you heard about Coney 2012? So that was something that really captivated millennials, and it did it because they used film. They used documentaries. They used the emotions in the film, and then gave everyone something to do afterwards. So that's important, too, when you talk about your campaigns. What do you want them to do? Get them to do it right after you get their emotions, right when you have their attention, because you're not going to have our attention for a long time. So tell me what you want me to do right after. So the Coney 2012, what they did, they said, watch our film, and then in the last minute of the film, they said, okay, on this day in April, we're going to put up posters. Okay, share it to your friends. Get other people excited about it. Tell them what to do right after. Give them that action point. Movember, have you ever heard of Movember? Yes, Movember is a pretty cool social campaign. It's about getting men to talk about prostate cancer. So the way that they did it is that prostate cancer isn't really a sexy issue. We don't talk about prostate cancer at all. How can we get men to talk about their health? Because we don't talk about men and health because, a lot of different reasons. But they said, what if we picked a month? And that month stood for, and that would be like the month where we get men to do something. Most men can grow mustaches, so why not say, like, no, shave your mustache, wear a mustache, and you do it for Movember. And they ended up getting millions and millions of dollars and raising awareness about prostate cancer because a lot of men just ended up not shaving their mustaches in November. And it's a conversation starter because some men don't look good with mustaches, or they don't wear mustaches all the time, so you're like, you haven't shaved, have you? No, what's that about? And you say it, okay, well, I'm participating in Movember. And then what they ended up doing is uploading different photos, or doing okay, this is what my mustache looks like this week, this is what it looks like next week, this is what it looks like today. So it's a pretty interesting way of not talking about, of focusing on something else to get people engaged. Whitney?
We're going to actually hand it to Penny to tell you a little bit more about tools first. And I'll jump into that.
Okay, thank you very much, Jordan. Good morning, everyone. Selamat pagi. Apa kabar? Raise your hand in the air, say baik saja. Apa kabar? Sehat semua? I'm greeting using Melayu language, which most of the Brunei, Malaysian, and Philippine have the same language ancestor. Okay, thank you very much. My name is Hendy Setiawan, but you can call me Mas Hendy, since I'm from Indonesia. I'm an entrepreneur, yeah. Let me see Indonesian boys here. First, the Indonesian guys. Yeah, amazing. And so, I'm an entrepreneur. I run a company called Barbarafi. It's actually a business that runs in franchise and food business, F&B business. One of the brand that we operate is Kebab Turki Barbarafi. I started during my university study at the age of 19. So it was 2003. I started with one kiosk, yeah. There was no business background. My mom is a teacher and my dad is a normal employee, so there was no business background. I started with a very single outlet during my university study, and we're blessed and fortunate to grow the business in 10 years and now operating more than 1,000 shops in Indonesia, Malaysia, and Philippines. And today, I want to share on how to do marketing, traditional marketing, especially if you run your own business or a service as well as promoting your projects. So the key of the successful marketing is when you got the word of mouth marketing. So people spread out, people starting to discuss about your brand, people starting to discuss about your product. That is the most effective ways of marketing. So through word of mouth marketing is actually, we have to create the press. Also, we have to organize how the customer wanted to talk about the brand. So there are several ways of doing word of mouth marketing. Let's say we take examples of Zalora and Lazada. And the way they're doing it is they give money back guarantee. So let's say you order one shirt from Zalora, and when they deliver to your house, the size of the shirt or the color doesn't match the one that you want. So you can just send them back, and they will give money back guarantee, or you can change with the picture of the T-shirt that you like. So that kind of service will create the word of mouth marketing itself. And then second, promoting, definitely. As a small business owner, originally when we started the business, there was not too many marketing budget that we have. So we have to do a very smart marketing campaign to promote the business. Yeah. So in 2003, there was no Facebook, no Twitter, definitely. Yeah. There's only Friendster. I don't know you guys use that or not. MySpace, yeah, that was the tools, yeah. But the way I promote the business is using flyer, yeah. Normal flyer, brochure. I print a brochure and give to other customer that came by to the stores. So in that case, we have to do any kind of marketing tools. Yeah, if you have budget, you can do a print ad. You don't have to do print ad in a national newspaper or a magazine. Do it locally in your own hometown. The tabloids that you have in your hometown, that will save the cost. But always consistent to do a promotion is the key, the awareness that people will reach your business. And then definitely websites. Yeah, Jordan has mentioned about the online website. We create website. Those are the powerful online tools that always work 24 hours. Yeah, that every time people wanted to search for us in internet, in Google, we have website to answer all the questions. And then definitely internet, community, social media. Like examples, Twitter and Facebook. Yeah. So I have a Twitter account, definitely. You can follow my Twitter account at Hendy Stiono. Yeah. If you follow my Twitter account, I will follow you back. Yeah. If you mention my Twitter account, I will retweet you. But I have 80,000 followers, yeah. So quite a lot. So if I mention you, you will get a lot of followers from me. Yeah. So those are the one of the effective tools using social media. One example is there's one business from Indonesia, a good friend of mine, selling snacks, Indonesian snacks called Maici. Yeah, Maici is a famous snack that sells spicy snacks. The way they sell it is using Twitter. So, okay, today I'm selling in front of this university with one car. The people that selling it, they promote it using Twitter. And the next day they can move to another location. The next day they can move to another location with the car and promote it using Twitter. And it's very booming. Yeah, those create the word of mouth through the social media. Another example is another business that called Holy Cow Steak. Is selling steak, a food that every time you tweet, if you're coming to the restaurant, they will give you a free drink and free dessert, yeah, free pudding. That will also create awareness and buzzer among the community. So by giving them free drinks, they will tweet and promote your brand to their friends, yeah, which is very powerful tools. And then other thing, publicity, definitely. So definitely all of us, most of the youth are narcissistic, right? We do selfies, you know, we do all the ally posts, you know, that kind of thing. That selfies that. So publicity is one key that to spread the stories. Let's say we have a service, we have a project that needs to be blown out. If by having good relation with the media, yeah, they interviewed us, they want to know more about how we care about the society. And they will create a good story, publicized in their newspaper and magazine. Those are the most effective tools on promoting the business. So in that case, you could do a small PR, send a press release to them. Definitely the release has to be something interesting. Don't do hard selling on the press release. Yeah, don't do hard promotion. But if you give a story, nice story, they will definitely like the press release and come by to interview you and do a publicity in the magazine. Yeah, and another example is gimmick. We can give a free gimmick. Let's say they buy our product. If our product have a, like the cost or the price is quite high, we can give a bonus, free umbrella, free keychain or anything. Doesn't have to be something expensive. Free pin, yeah, stickers. That will make an engagement in between customers and our service and our businesses. Yeah, and definitely the last, get a free endorsement. If you know any public figure, if you know any artist, yeah, that have a lot of followers in their Twitter account or Facebook account, send them free products, free service of your business, then let them tweet or promote about your business. So since I have 80,000 followers, if you guys wanted me to promote your service, yeah, you can. Just send me your free product, and definitely I will tweet it. Yeah, so I think that's from me. Thank you very much. Yeah, I will pass it
All right, we're going to switch gears now and talk about planning. But before we do you have any questions right now based on what Jordan talked about or what Hendy talked about? Any questions at all? Yes. He's going to bring you a microphone.
When it comes to social media for Myanmar and mine, for Myanmar, like, we don't have any copyright, so we cannot upload documents that we want to marketing because of copyright. Because in Myanmar we don't have any copyright, so people just can take our idea and we cannot take any action on that. So how will you suggestion?
So if I'm understanding you, you have government policies that are preventing you from uploading content that you do not own? Or
We don't have any law about when it comes to copyright.
So-
Property right or things like that.
I think I'm understanding you. You guys chime in too. What's interesting is when Hendy and I, these old people, when we grew up and we had typewriters and all those old-fashioned things, you had to be very careful with copyright. You had to get permission. If you take someone's picture, you have to get permission, have them sign a contract. There were a lot of legal processes in place to protect people. With social media, it's happening so fast. I mean, I can take a picture of all of you and post it and take a video of you, and I don't have to get your permission at all. So we are in this very new time where laws are still being developed. So I think you always have to follow the law and be respectful. Some information, a cool tweet that you like, you can borrow some ideas, but come up with your own content. That's one suggestion I have. And every country is different. Many of you have very different type of relationship with newspapers and magazines and radio stations than we do in the US. So social media is changing all of these rules that used to be in place. Anything you guys want to add?
Yeah, just to add that marketing doesn't necessarily have to be online all the time. It could be a poster that you create. It could be a messaging that you create, with pen and paper. So just because we do have...
What are those?
What is that? I don't know. But it doesn't have to be a social media plan. Marketing is also just how do you translate what your brand is. That could be a poster, it could be something, it could be a message that you're giving and a speech that you're giving. It doesn't necessarily have to be online as well.
If you have more questions, come up and talk to
The youth are not very much interested in. So how can we should add in something that they interested, like music or the current affair in the youth life, and when we do that, it may interfere somehow into our project, like on the Facebook or Twitter, because we want certain teaser to get them to get their attention to our. They may follow on the Facebook. So I mean, how much or to what extent can we balance these? Yes. And the second question is if.
Can you hold your second question? Did you understand that question? I didn't understand you very well. Are you asking about truth?
Yeah, like for example, our project is about an issue that doesn't get the attention of the youth very much. So I have to use some other teaser, like on the Facebook, I add in some affair that the youth are interested in right now, and it may interfere with the main purpose of the project. So, but on the other way, I have to do that to get the attention of the student in my university. So, how much or to what extent should I parent?
Are you saying that there is some true information and you're trying to figure out how to use that true information? I'm still not understanding your question. Is there someone at your table that can help?
Like, for example, I do a project about climate change, and the students in my university are not very interested in that issue. So I have to use some ways like music or some issue that they are interested in to get their attention. So by doing that, somehow I can interfere about the main objective of the project. So I want to ask to how much extent I can
I
do.
would say to the fullest. So one of the things I was telling my group the other day, I do environmental work, and specifically a lot of it is climate change. And I'm from the United States, where our work when we're talking about climate change is about telling people that it's actually real and it's happening, because we don't think that that's real in the United States, if you aren't aware. So a lot of the work, it's like how do we get people's attention when it talks about climate change? But I would put it back on you and say, what are they interested in? What's your audience, and what are they interested in? If they're interested in the arts, if they're interested in the cultural aspects, interested in the social aspects when you talk about climate change, then talk about those. And that's what marketing is really about. It's about taking a step back and saying, okay, what is it that I care about? Not what is it that I care about. What is it that they care about? And how can I get them to care about what I care about? Specifically when you talk about environmental issues, maybe you talk about economics, maybe you talk about the different effects. You have to get that like human emotion and get those and start to get those like personal narratives. So it's definitely like not easy, especially when you talk about climate change. But using different interesting ways to get people's attention is important. Music and arts, that's perfect. So I would say to the full extent, like go, what are they interested in? Don't think about what you're interested in, what are they interested in, and how can you get them interested in what you think is important.
Thank you. Anything you want to add? Okay.
So, and the last experience is when I do social media, because I ask for a sponsor, so they force us to put their brand or their slogan on the Facebook or Twitter or the website, something like that. And sometimes my audience or my friend think that this project is abused to advertise for their brands too much. But on the other hand, we need their money. So how much? To what extent we have to balance this?
That is a great question. So if you are putting on an event, even like this event, you their brand and their name attached to the good work that you are doing. So you have to be very careful in your negotiations about what different types of marketing opportunities do they get. So isn't it on? Yeah, okay, so we have the logo of the State Department way down here. So let's say the State Department came to Bonnie and they said, we want our logo to be right here, we want it to be huge. She has to stand up for the organization and say, we are so glad that you are our sponsor. We are going to promote the State Department every way we can. But for our audience, it doesn't make sense. They need to have this information here. So you have to just negotiate with your sponsors. And as Jordan was saying, all marketing, you have to think what is in it for them. What do they need? And then you have to find creative ways to help them. So you're very smart. You want to make sure that whatever you are doing doesn't look like it's all coming from the sponsor. Does that help answer your question?
It's not going to be
In
easy.
general, yeah. Do you have any specific experience or lesson to tell us how you would overcome this situation?
I would say that is like, it's a really good question, and it's something that isn't easy at all, because you want to make sure that your brand that your brand abides by what that company, the values of that company, but you also want the money or need the money a lot of times. So it has to be like, you just have to like talk to your team and try to discuss it with your team and see, is it the best? Can you get the money from somewhere else? Do you need their support, or how much of their support you need? So the Gen Y Not initiative that I was talking about was one of my, that I do with my best friends. And we're best friends, and we were just fighting a few weeks ago about bringing on United Nations Foundation, because what happens if you bring on a big organization like that, we have to abide by their values. And maybe our values are different than their values, but they're also a big partner. So we're going back and forth with each other, like, no, but I think it's important for this. No, but I think that we should stand by this. So just, it's really important to understand, what are your values? How far are you willing to go? And can you get it from somewhere else? And it's not going to be easy though.
So we're going to walk around, we can talk to you a little more about this. But these questions that you have, the problem is many times we start doing marketing and we don't have a plan. So by the time a sponsor comes to you and wants something, you have not thought that through. So we're going to start talking about planning. And another thing I want to point out, in Jordan's example of Kony, by a show of hands, how many of you have seen that video or heard about Kony? Okay, many of you in the room. So the challenge with this Kony marketing campaign, it got a lot of buzz, a lot of word of mouth marketing, like Hendy was saying. People were spreading the video all over, but it didn't really get the right results. So you might get a lot of buzz, but are you getting money for the organization? Did people take action? The day that we were supposed to put up posters around the world and all come together, it did not happen. And part of that was, I don't know if you remember, but the founder of the organization had a mental illness. And so a lot of media came out in the United States that focused on that negative. They focused on him, what's wrong with him, he did some crazy behavior, and it took away the focus from the organization. So you have to have a plan in place to know how to deal with crisis and emergencies and things like that too. So let's talk about this planning process and start applying everything that we've been talking about to you guys. So most organizations use a very long, complicated marketing plan. I grew up in a family business with a pottery business, so as a little child I was an entrepreneur. But eventually I went to work at Microsoft, and so we would always use this very long planning process. But for NGOs, for students, for nonprofit organizations, you may not have a lot of time to create a big complicated plan, and so I want to share with you a very simple process that we're going to walk you through now. And it involves these 5 keys. And I want you to think about these, and I'll show you step by step how they work. The first is strategy. Number 2 is story. Number 3 is strength. 4 is simplicity. And 5 is speed. So the reason why strategy is at the top is because marketing is really fun. It's very cool. Just all these things Jordan and Hendy were talking about. You get to put on events, you get to create websites, you get to do social media. It's a lot of fun, right? To do marketing? Yes, and so my fabulous group, Edugo, on day 1, they said to me, we want to do a website. And I challenged them. I said, a website is one marketing tool, but I want you to step back and be more strategic. What is that website going to do? How is that website going to help you? Because marketing is everything you do and you say. It's your business card. It's your website. It's your voice on a voice message. It's how you dress if you are part of your organization representing your organization. You have so much power to communicate what you're doing. So you have to think about it and be calculated and be intentional and have some purpose. So step number 1 is strategy. So what I would like you to do is we're going to have you take a few minutes at your tables working with your mentor, and I want you to think about your long-term vision for your organization and what you are trying to accomplish, and we want you to pick one marketing activity to focus on for the rest of this workshop. So for my group, maybe they will focus on building that one website. Maybe another group needs to create a paper flyer. Maybe another group wants to focus on Twitter, so you need to think about how to use Twitter in a smart way. Maybe your group needs to think about sponsorship. So I want everyone with the group to pick one marketing activity that you focus on, and you're going to get ready and we're going to walk you through the steps of how to build a marketing plan for that one tactic, that one marketing tool. Is everyone clear? Okay, so you have about 5 minutes. We will walk around and then we're going to report back from some different groups.
Teach for ASEAN. So do go on Facebook, like us. Teach for ASEAN. We already have like 190 likes. Hopefully we get a page. So anyway, when it comes to our marketing, first of all, we're thinking of doing it quite slow, quite discreet. However, we're going to come up with letters and everything. We're going to communicate first of all. Either we get the page or we don't get the page. We're going to send letters to the State Department, obviously. We're going to send letters to ASEAN Education Ministers Meeting, ASED. We're going to send letters to Southeast Asian Minister of Education Organization. We're going to send letters also to the Ministry of Education from respective ASEAN countries.
Okay, so hold on right there. So your marketing strategy is you're sending letters. Are they paper letters or email letters?
Both.
Okay,
Both.
perfect. Okay,
Yeah.
hold right there. That's your strategy, right? Okay. So I'm going to come to my group and a little bit about the project.
Our projects focus on youth to encourage the exchange between within ASEAN region. So our focus group is mainly university students. We have picked Facebook as one of our main channel in doing this marketing task because on Facebook itself, we have ways to kickstart our project.
Hi everyone, we're Aloha team and our project is several schools and with child center activities, and we come up with the two groups of target audience. The first group is who have internet access, so we can focus on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn for professional advisors, like that. And also we can use the Akamai website and USMC website from different from each country in our group. And also we can have from some NGO and some partners like UNICEF and UNISGM. And for those who don't have internet access, for example, in certain areas in each country we may not have internet access, we can reach the audience by ICT materials. That is information, communication, education, printing materials. And also we can have local newspapers, radio station, and also we do school posters so that we can spread out the information and everything.
Great, good job. So I wanted you to pick one just to focus on, but you're right, you're going to have.
They created a marketing plan for people that don't have access to internet, and that's important to make sure
So
that
did
you do
my
that.
group.
Yeah.
My
Oh,
group.
well. Okay.
Yeah, we were way on the ball.
Okay. All right.
So Jordan is bringing up with the east side in Borneo with an indigenous community, and they are struggling with land use issues where developers of hotels are moving into their land and their villages and they're destroying their communities. And so PACOS is a nonprofit organization that I was working with, and they had to communicate to these people in the indigenous communities with many different languages. They don't have cell phones, they don't have laptops, they don't have Wi-Fi, so they had to do it the old-fashioned way with paper flyers. And because these people do not speak English commonly, they just used photographs as visuals. They brought people together in community events, talked to them about these issues, and got them to work together. So there's no social media, there's no technology. So you guys need to think about, if you're working with rural communities, how will you market and communicate to them? So very good, everyone. So let's move on to the next step in your plan, and that is your story. And by story, I mean your brand. So many people do not really know what a brand is, and I want you to think about your brand as your personality. The personality of your organization, the personality of your project. For example, Waisili. If we are talking about the brand of Waisili, what words would you use? What words come to mind? Tell me one word raise your hand. How do you feel when you think about Waisili? You feel about this experience? Anyone? You guys, are you having fun here? How do you feel about Waisili? What's one word that comes to mind? How do you feel? Our brand. Another one.
Magic.
Magic?
Amazing.
Amazing. I agree. So
We're not saying it's serious, it's professional. That would be a different type of brand, but this is the brand. So I want you to think about the brand at the center of your marketing. It's your heart and your soul of your organization. And then all of your other marketing goes around that. So you start, think of a wheel with a hub in the middle. Your brand is in the middle, and outside of that are all of your marketing activities that are going to communicate your brand. Does that make sense? So you're going to use your brand to tell your story. And so I want you to think about some of the examples that Jordan shared with you and Hendy shared with you. You need to think about who is your audience and what part of your story do you need to communicate. For example, think about McDonald's. So McDonald's in the United States is about happy and family. It's not about healthy food. They do not promote that. Their brand is about coming together, family, happiness. And so how they tell that story, for example, is they have the children's meals with toys in them. They design their restaurants so they have play spaces so families can come together. So they're thinking about how to tell their brand story in all of their marketing and business activities. So I want you to think about what your brand is, and for this exercise, I want you to just write down a few words that describe the personality, the brand of your organization. So you will be able to think about how do you communicate that in everything you do, your flyers, your events, your social media. Are you serious? Are you happy? Are you about family? Write down a few words and talk about the brand experience of your organization. How will people feel when they interact with your organization? All right, so everybody take a few minutes and then we'll walk around again with Jordan. You're getting your exercise.
Yes.
The host come in there. And then the last is the media, like the newspaper, radio, or everything.
Perfect.
Thank you.
All right, and hopefully you
From
guys.
civic engagement too. So our group focus on interfaith community. We have because like we don't need very much funding. I mean, for at least 3 or 6 months ahead. But we need is recognition from people. So what we need is to gain more people's attention. So that's why we are working through the social media. So who are the key partners? I'm not trying to avoid the government's involvement, but we are trying as much that we should optimize the existence of the youth at first. For example, so we'd like to start optimize from the alumni of this Waisili at first. We have 100 alumni. For example, that if we count about 50% of these alumni, that means that we have 50 youth that have a very wide network. Second, we would like to work with the local alumni association. For example, of course, at least we would like to start from the alumni association of the program that you were joining. Okay, so for example, that my program, so we have about 600 alumni across Indonesia. That means that we would like to optimize of them. Not all of them, for example, at least 50% of 600. That means that we would like to have 300 agents across Indonesia. We would like to optimize from social media. Second, we would like to use local radio because like recognition from local radio is very important and it is free sometimes. You just come to the radio, we try to send the proposal, and they just talk about this one. I think that is very important. And the last one about the local NGOs that with a similar topic. For example, NGO in religious diversity, an NGO in environment, NGO in youth community, because like all of us are actually non-profit, non-profit organization and community. That means that we have the same vision, so it's going to be much easier to gain recognition from the people. Yeah, I think that we have target, so funding is very important. But for at least like 3 months ahead, we'd like to focus in gaining attention and recognition from the people. I think that's very important. Thank you.
Great example because again, many of you are focusing on.
Hi, I happened to be interviewed by the media since a few days ago, and I believe Dr. Saifuddin has also been interviewed. By the way, Dr. Saifuddin, you were quoted in Sinchu today. And yesterday, Zamir, if you are here, you're also being quoted. Eileen was quoted today as well in my article. What do you want to say? Like,
Is it helping YC?
I think all the Malaysian Chinese know about YCL and know about the 100 over participants coming from ASEAN. And whoever who read the newspaper today and yesterday also know that where all of you come from, who you are, even though not by name, what we do during the workshop, and the 4 teams that we are working on. And I think this is a great way to promote our initiative. So YCL is no longer a strange word to anybody in Malaysia, at least, because it's also being carried on Bernama News, which is the official news wire. So if you go online, you type on YCL, we are all over the world. Thank you.
Great. Nice job. So the other great thing about media, this is free, right? No one had to pay for this. This is free publicity. And when you get media coverage, what can you do with it? You can put it on your website. You can communicate it through social media. You can make paper copies of this and give this article out to people at events. So you can maximize your media coverage and help your marketing. So the very last thing we're going to talk about is actually creating a mini marketing plan. Step number 1, what are you trying to do? So you want to get some media coverage. You want to get a newspaper article, for example. Who is going to do the work? Someone has to call the reporter. Someone has to send an email to the reporter. Someone has to create a press kit, a paper kit for the reporter. So you have to figure out what you want to do, who is doing that work, where and when is it going to happen. If for example, you want to produce a video, is that going to be put on YouTube? Are you going to put the video on your website? Are you going to show the video at an event? So I want you to think through these steps. Step number 4, how much does it cost? We just said that press media coverage is usually free, but maybe you need to design a logo and you have to pay for a designer. Or maybe you have someone in your group who's a graphic designer and they can actually do that for you. So I want you to think about the budget and the cost.
Our project is basically to do an exchange program for students in Southeast Asia, especially in 5 countries, participating countries: Indonesia, Malaysia, Singapore, Cambodia, and Brunei. And what we want to do as a marketing plan is to create a really amazing video as a promotion, connecting the video to the website and provide more detailed information. But as the first stage, because we will work with a close partner, our marketing would go directly to the partner university, because we will depend on university to select their students, less fortunate students, to join the program. So at the moment, the first stage of the project, we don't really need the student to actually know so much about our project itself, but we need the university to support us first. So the marketing will involve a lot on sale, convincing the university management to actually sponsor and help her find the right candidates. Yeah.
Is it going to cost you anything?
A lot of, maybe some logistic costs in terms of, getting people to actually go meet university, convincing them, maybe preparing some amazing proposal. If we have some money, we may want to invest in creating a really, really professional and cool video to sort of showcase our project.
Cool, great job. Good job, you guys. You want to get out there and you want to try and you want to go quickly while you have your excitement and your energy and your team. You don't want to take 6 months for this plan to turn into action. But sometimes you might fail, you might make a mistake as you're trying things out, and so I encourage you to use your failure as fuel to try again. Even big corporations, when I worked at Microsoft, we made mistakes all the time. We wasted money, and we would put on events and no one would come. Then you don't stop everything, you keep trying. And Jordan's team actually was talking about how to turn their plan into action, so I'm going to let her tell that story to you.
Yes, so my team, we're creating an education program that is a child-centered disaster preparedness education program. So giving young children the skills for what happens when a natural disaster occurs in the schools. So what we said, well, why don't we, where are we going to pilot it? And then we started having this conversation about the best place to pilot it, because it will be a school program, but is it best to pilot in a school where we've already worked with in the past, a school where maybe one of our team members is a teacher there, or we've done an environmental program there before and they trust us? Or if our focus is natural disasters, what about a school in a community that's more prone to it? What is best? So we had to have that hard conversation, and we came up with, well, maybe it's best to choose someone that already trusts you. So where you can say, we've piloted this program in one school or 2 schools or 3 schools, and we know that it works, we know that it's great, now can we go to the community that needs it the most? So you have to have that discussion about where is the best place to pilot it, because a lot of programs, they want to see that it's already been done. And they want to see, does it work, is it successful? So it's okay if you don't go where it's already needed, because you want to get that experience. Because you are going to fail, and that's good, because you're going to learn from that failure. And you have to be okay with that failure as well, and understand, okay, we're going to learn what we need, because you might do the program and then find out, okay, our marketing strategy didn't work, or maybe we need to revamp the curriculum, maybe we need to change something, and it's good to always have that pilot. So when you're thinking about, now we have this marketing plan, what's next, think about where is the best place to pilot it. Where are you going to do your trial run? And go and do it and have fun with it. That's the best thing about marketing. You gotta have fun with it, because when you're having fun, other people understand that you're having fun and they want to be a part of it as well. So make sure that you put some type of funness in it.
Okay, so we were your 3 mentors that were here to help you with marketing, and you have our contact information. Right there. There were a few other mentors that were helping behind the scenes. So just want to tell you that we're available. You can contact us. We're all on social media, especially this guy was promoting, but she is too, and I am. So any questions you have, anytime, I think my colleagues would agree, you are more than welcome to contact us. We are happy to help you. We're very passionate about marketing.
Yes.
Thanks, you guys. So we're going to wait to hear from Bonnie in just a little bit. So you can...
Let's see if they have some questions. Do you have any questions?
Always right.
Let's see if we can get one.
Yeah.
And if you have any questions, make sure to contact one of us.
Awesome.
Awesome.
And Waisili has awesome marketing. They do an awesome job.
And awesome young people.
Yes, and a great brand, a powerful brand. They got great publicity. They're doing everything right when it comes to marketing.
Correct. Awesome photographer as well, videographer.
Oh
Yes.
yeah, yes, the videographers, camera people, awesome.
Cool. Thank you.